Of Hurricane Irene, including the latest information as of the 8 o'clock advisory. It's centered at 33.3 north, 77.8 west. That puts the center about 65 miles south of Wilmington, North Carolina. The winds around 75 miles per hour. It's moving off to the northeast at 18 miles per hour, and the pressure 976 millibars. We do have tropical storm warnings in effect from Cape Hatteras to the North Carolina-Virginia border. Additionally, we have hurricane warnings in effect from the South Santee River, South Carolina, northward to Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. So the hurricane warnings still in effect. Additionally, we have the threat of flooding. Flood watches, South Carolina, eastern North Carolina into Virginia. Folks in this area have seen a great deal of rain recently. The ground is saturated, and any more wet weather is just going to cause additional problems. Take a look at Nags Head, North Carolina. You can see how the heavy rains have caused flooding in the streets. This rain is not a welcome sight. The city, along with a lot of the Outer Banks, have taken a beating from Tropical Storm Dennis and Hurricane Floyd. And we're joined now by our own Mike Seidel, who joins us live from Wrightville Beach. And Mike, it looks like the rain's picked up again.
It has. This is the western edge of the, well, we want to call it the eye wall. It's not much of an eye now that the hurricane is a minimal hurricane and it's rather diffused. It's about 60 miles off the coast, so we're not far from the hurricane. But again, the core, the strongest winds are right near the center, as we've seen for the past couple of days. But we're getting this last kind of gasp from Irene. The thing that has really helped us tonight is it has speeded up. It was moving at 10 miles an hour. Now it's moving at 20 miles an hour. So theoretically, you could cut the rainfall total in half. It's also not moving on shore, so that's lowering the rainfall totals right now, generally running 3 to 6 inches in the eastern parts of North Carolina. Earlier today, during high tide, the surf came in, the water came up to the seawall, and as a result, we had some minor beach erosion, no structural damage, fortunately, because there wasn't a whole lot of wind like we had with Dennis or Floyd, but we did certainly have a lot of rough surf, and the locals were out checking it out. Now that high tide is running after midnight and the storm will have passed, we'll have offshore winds, and as a result, not expecting any problems with overwash and storm surge. We're joined once again by Gina Giordano, who is with the Rapid Response Team with the American Red Cross, coming out tonight. And Gina, what can you tell us about shelter situation here in eastern North Carolina?
Thousands of Red Cross workers have been standing by to assist the people affected by this hurricane. Right now we have approximately 850 people in Red Cross shelters, and that number has doubled in just the past couple of hours, which tells us that people have heeded the warning and they're taking refuge in a safe place.
And how many shelters are opened in this particular storm?
We have 44 open in North Carolina alone.
Now, Red Cross certainly played a vital part in the recovery with Dennis and Floyd. In fact, there are still many Red Cross folks in the area that never left from Floyd, and that was a good 3-4 weeks ago.
Right, 13,000 American Red Cross workers were here to help the people cope with Floyd. They've also gone through Dennis and now Hurricane Irene. What we're finding is a great need for these people is mental health. For that reason, we have 250 mental health workers who are here to talk to people, to give them a shoulder to cry on, and just to be for them in their time of need.
Unfortunately, this hurricane is not going to be anything like Floyd or Dennis was. Hey, we appreciate your efforts, the Red Cross efforts. Gina Giordano with the American Red Cross's Rapid Response Team here in Wrightville Beach tonight. The rain is still coming down, Christina, but again, give it till about 11 or 12 o'clock, and we'll be certainly on the way to some drier and clearer weather over the next couple of days here in the eastern Carolinas. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. Well, of course, this is the third storm to affect the Carolinas in the past 2 months. Reporter Andy Fields shows us how people are coping with the situation.
2 days ago, no one expected this. Forecasters hoped Irene might collapse on the Florida peninsula. Instead, it boomeranged up the Carolina coast, soaking 2 already hurricane-battered states. Tom Radowitz raced to protect his 100-year-old home.
We're fed up with them, and we don't feel good. It's just a bad feeling inside.
It is getting out of the way, and also staying offshore, I might say. The center is offshore. It's running just about parallel to the coast. Good thing, too, I think, because we have some evidence looking at the reconnaissance reports and looking at satellite pictures and the radars that the storm has become a bit better organized. The pressure's fallen a little bit, but we don't see anything like hurricane force winds on shore, and that's certainly good news. One reason for that is, of course, if you have a hurricane moving toward the northeast 20 miles an hour or so, you can, and the wind is coming around this way up in this neck of the woods, you can just about take 20 miles an hour off those easterly winds. So this is exactly what we would expect. All the hurricane force winds, as best we can determine, are out here northeast of where the center is, out near the center and off to the northeast. not any on land, and that's very fortunate. We expect to see this continue to accelerate rapidly out to the northeast, and by tomorrow morning it should be moving off the Outer Banks of North Carolina and far out to sea then by tomorrow afternoon. And it's going to stay far enough south, I think, so that we don't have to be especially concerned about it in New England or Nova Scotia for that matter. Now, looking at the overall radar picture and taking a good look up the east coast, we can certainly see where the center of circulation is here very plainly, and it's a lot tighter circulation than we had 24 hours ago. Also, you will notice that rain is spread up to the north and is now up to New York City. If you're watching the ball game up there, you know it's raining, and you see the rain in Boston, I think, also before the game is over up there. Now, looking at the picture a little closer in, right there is our circulation center, and that's about as well organized as it's been since the day before yesterday when it came into Florida. But again, it's considered a minimal hurricane. The top winds are just 75 miles an hour. The most important thing for North Carolina, I'd like you to notice, is how this western edge of this rain, this massive rain showers recedes with time. So the rain is ending from the west. It's doing so pretty rapidly. It's ended just about everywhere now in South Carolina. It's ended at Fayetteville, North Carolina, and a few more hours of rain here in the eastern part. But if you can hold out till that's over, that will be about all. Some of the Doppler indications now show some areas there in eastern North Carolina 4 to 6 inches. So in this part of North Carolina right here, it's not over with yet, but in a few more hours it will be. Be back next half hour with another update. And now back to Christina in the studio.
All right, John Hope, thanks a lot for that information. And we